Hello, everybody. Here we go. We have got a live call for support, so great to have you with me. Now, we are actually live into the group. We're live on Instagram. We're pretty much live everywhere. And it's being recorded so people can come on and learn more at a time that suits. Obviously, we're in different time zones. We're a global business. We're global all around the world. So I'm looking forward to what comes up on this call. And remember, this is all about you getting your questions answered. So drop it in the chat, drop it wherever you can. And I'm just going to get set up now to make sure everything is coming through exactly as I can see it, so I don't miss anybody's questions or anything like that. So bear with me as we just get technology happening right at the beginning of this. So how's everyone feeling? Let me know in the chat box how you're feeling. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling a bit low? What's going on energetically? If anyone knows about Mercury retrograde, is that all happening as well, causing a low energy? So it's always great to see. Hello, Instagram. We've got Instagram over here, Facebook and YouTube over here. So great to see people. Hey, man, love your vids on YouTube. The best Kangen vids out there. Thank you. Truly, truly appreciate your support with that. And there's a lot more value. Feeling good, feeling pumped. Legend. Victoria says, great. Wonderful. Great to see you all coming on. So there's a lot of value I'm going to be sharing. I am going to try and fluctuate between Instagram and Facebook on here as well. There's a lot of information that I'll be sharing, but more importantly, this is about you getting the most value. And the way that that can happen is through your own interactions. So I am live in the Facebook group of the Enagic product owners and distributor support group as well. So I'm keeping an eye on that Facebook chat. I am a multitasking male. So ladies, come on, there must be a round of applause for that, because there's not many of us. There truly isn't many of us that can do that. So I'm not saying it's going to go well, but I am saying that I'm going to give it my best shot, and that's all that one can do. So they do exist. In fact, they do, Tanya, they do. But great to hear you're great as well, Rita. So there's starting us off, first of all, yes, make sure you're hydrated, everybody. Make sure you've got plenty of water. Just filled this up right now. Fantastic having your Kangen water with you. So there's, over the last several months, there's been quite a lot happening within Enagic as Enagic's evolving. And I really want to help you understand more around that as well. I have a very strong relationship with Enagic Corporate and speak regularly with the overarching management team in Australia, which basically, it doesn't matter if it's coming from Australia or America or Canada. Enagic's playing from the same hymn book. They're all singing from the same hymn book. So it's all a case of no matter where you are in the world, the language may be slightly different in regards to, let's say, what's in policies and procedures or coming from head offices. But that's because we're a global company and there's certain rules in the industry that dictate the way that the language has to be based on where the company is situated. So just be aware that everything's on the same playing field and we're all abiding by the same rules, so to speak. As distributors, obviously, as customers, consumers, your focus is the products and getting the most benefit from the products. So obviously questions related to the products are going to help me answer those better, especially anything around distributors, helping you there. So some of the big things to touch on at the moment, and we're seeing great growth around the world, in particular in India. India is having some great growth, which has been fantastic to see. I remember when I was in Japan in 2017 for Mr. Ashira's birthday, and I met some of the Indian leaders there, where India was just starting to get traction. And it was great to see another country obviously expanding with regards to our amazing products. And as Rita said there, she's even drinking the Yukon tea. So fantastic, Rita. Great to see that as well. We've got plenty of people. I'm doing my best to keep up, guys, fluctuating between everything that's going on. So if you've got questions, especially you guys on the Zoom, I really want to make sure that you guys are heard and seen right away. So if there's any questions, especially if you want to jump on and unmute yourself, feel free to do so. That's what this call's all about. So let me just drop this out of the way. Okay. We love that. Keep it up. You're very welcome. So has anybody got questions on the live call? No, just drop them in the chat if you've got a question you want to ask, and the same in the Facebook group. Anything, I'm going to do my best to keep up with everything that's coming through on Instagram. So one of the things that it is important that we're aware of is from a customer point, all the products have been designed to help us with our health. So naturally, we've got the most popular product is going to be the water ionizer. That's probably going to be the most popular, producing the Kangen water that we're drinking. And that's so good, Tanya. Thank you, and welcome for your first time. So the big thing here is that we're focused on getting healthier water into our own body and the bodies of our family members, maybe our children, our grandchildren, or our partner, and everybody else. And it's usually one person I've found over the years of experience, and it tends to be the females, who are the driver in regards to nurturing the family, and the partner, who in most cases, based on my experience, is the bloke, is like, what? How much are we spending on a water machine? Really? Do we need that? And silently drinking it and start to notice a difference, and then it's pretty good, this. And in regards to like my mum and my stepdad was very skeptical, loves the water now, and for quite a period of time was resistant to being there supporting my mum about it, just from a customer base, but my mum was wanting to share it with other people. But then when you got him in a room where somebody asked him, like, so what's this water about? All of a sudden he's telling how amazing it is. So for some of the men in particular, they tend to be a bit hesitant and a bit resistant in regards to sharing the value of it. But the truth is in experiencing it. And as a customer myself, even though I've created a very strong brand, I've impacted thousands of lives around the world, which I'm grateful for, I'm still at the core a customer of the products. I'm still a human being who chose to invest in the products for my health, for the benefit of me and my partner at the time, and it's benefited through the family and other friends and so on. So the focus here is in serving self. The same thing of putting the mask on to protect self is going to give us some level of value in regards to them being able to assist other people. Well, the Kangen water in particular, and I've experienced this over the years, most people think that it's just expensive filtered water. And we really, the challenge for a lot of people in society is that it's a paradigm shift, and a paradigm shift doesn't happen like that. It takes time for it to happen. So what needs to take place here is education. And one of the things that I've personally focused on over the years is making sure that I provide enough information, education, for a human being to make an educated decision toward their own health. Now, when I first heard about the price, I almost fell off my chair, because there was no value in the price of the product, because all I was hearing was and gaining from that was an intellectual understanding. That's information coming in, me then becoming aware of it, me processing it based on my experience to that point, and then making a decision or an opinion. However, because I'm very much guided by my intuition, my heart and my gut, rather than my head, I chose to go with it, even though people around me were telling me that it was going to be a waste of money, it was too expensive. And because I trusted my intuition, I then was able to have, once I received the products, a spiritual experience. So I shifted from what I call stage one, an intellectual experience, into a spiritual experience. And this has had a significant effect on my own health and well-being. Now, because of industry regulations, I cannot share my personal experience. I cannot talk about health benefits and testimonials. That's what we shouldn't be doing, because it creates problems. It also, not only does it create a problem for Enagic, but what we end up doing is we create a problem in society, because people hear that it might cure or heal them. And then they have this belief, which is great to have a belief, or rather, I'm going to shift what I just said, they have an expectation. And when we have an expectation that doesn't get fulfilled, we then are disappointed. Now, think about this in your own life. Maybe you've had a friend who you've expected to do something, or a family member for a party, a birthday, whatever happening, and they've not delivered based on your expectation. You're disappointed with them. Maybe you're frustrated, maybe you're angry, but disappointment comes in because of expectations not being met. And especially when it's related to our health. So if we don't have any pain or anything that's like upset within our body, we feel great. Would we all agree? We feel good when we don't have any pain. I've dealt with back pain for many, many years because of disc herniations and other damage that I've done to it over the years. When I don't experience back pain, I feel good. I probably don't realize I feel good until I experience back pain again. And then I'm like, oh, I've got a herniated disc in my neck and it's flared up, and I've been getting nerve pain in my shoulder and my arm recently. Well, I was feeling great a couple of weeks ago, and I was playing basketball yesterday and I felt fine. And then in the afternoon, it flared up. So these things are important that we're aware of around not creating an expectation for people, but then providing education as to the value of doing something better than what we're currently doing. If we want to experience something better, whether that be our health, whether that be our relationships, whether that being able to communicate better, our environment, we have to raise our bar. We have to step up onto a new step, not to the top step, just to a new step progress. So in regards to the Enagic products, but in particular the ionizer, what we're focusing on doing is helping people understand, even if you're just a customer, helping you understand that what you've chosen to invest in, not buy, it's not a cost, you've chosen to invest in, is something that's beneficial to you and your health. Now, it might not be something you experience straight away. Some people have had amazing experiences straight away, literally within like the first glass of drinking. But it could be something that's over months, it could be over years. But what if, think of the power of this now, what if just by choosing to invest in the product of an ionizer and drinking Kangen water, only drinking Kangen water, not even using any of the benefits of the ionizer, just drinking Kangen water every day, what if that helped your body be in a better state of balance? What if that just reduced levels of stress from a point of consuming liquids into your body that helped your body function better? One of the things with when I first got introduced to Enagic, I had over 20 years experience in the health and movement industry. And I was blown away that in all of those years, no one had ever, even in all the studies that I had done, even in my qualifications, no one had ever sat me down to talk to me about water. Then I went and researched more, and I found out doctors, naturopaths, dietitians, nutritionists, physiotherapists, chiros, personal trainers, nurses, get zero to very little education on water. Yet water, after oxygen, water is what we need to survive and thrive. So that's a problem to me. That's why I chose to dive deeper. And I love, as you probably know, to speak. I love to share my knowledge and experience and educate people. Because if I've learned something, I want to pass that on because it's been passed on to me. It's the same thing of to me, to you, through you, and pass on. And we help co-create a better world. So the great thing here around the products and the water education is helping people understand that what we're doing is in the jigsaw puzzle of health, our physical body, the jigsaw puzzle of health that involves foods we eat, the liquids we drink, our environment, the relationships we have, our sleep, meditating, time in nature, or exercise, all these different areas, all these different pieces. The focus is that when I and when we choose to improve the water we're drinking, what we've been able to do is place that piece onto our puzzle of health to be able to see that we are now taking action in an area that's going to be important to help us move forward in life, to reduce an element of stress, to not be like, what do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? The people who say, and I've heard this so many times, I've tried everything. That's a statement of frustration, of confusion. That's a statement of things aren't working. And we often, because of a lack of information, we often overlook the simple things. So if we actually looked and go, what's the one thing we need? And I love it when people go, money. They go, no. Oxygen's number one. Forget money. You can have all the money in the world. If you've got no oxygen, you're buggered. So number one is oxygen. So then you look and go, okay, well, we know that we're fortunate. We can be grateful the world that we live in, Earth, has oxygen. But if we're living in highly polluted environments, that is causing stress to the body. It's our decision. We're not a tree. We're not born in the ground and we can't move. We can move. So then the angle is, where can I get into a healthy environment? What can I do to improve the oxygen that I'm consuming to help me stay alive? Then we naturally go, what's the next thing we need? Water. We're made up of over 70% water. Now, there's a lot of figures out there. It's believed that we're actually over 99% based on cellular level. But let's just say, for argument's sake, over 70% water. We know we need water to survive and thrive. So the next thing is the water we drink. We know that foods in season, nutrient-dense foods, not going to the supermarket and grabbing anything we want at any time of the year. We know nutrient-dense foods that are grown in season are going to have the highest level of nutrients for our body to utilize. Our body doesn't just need food, it needs the nutrients to utilize to support us. So once again, if you think about everything that's being marketed on the outside, all we need to do is literally close our ears and come back, because we already know. We need to stop opening these doors outward so we end up with the answer of, I've tried everything. Have you gone back to what's important? What's your sleep like? The first thing, what's your sleep like? You know, if you're not, I was listening to Jordan Peterson yesterday on his 12 steps of book thing, and it's really intense. And we listened to the audio version. Whether you like Jordan or not, I'm fascinated with the guy. And he was saying that the first thing he does as a clinical psychologist is look at people's sleep and say, if you're not getting up on the same time, roughly, each morning, then that's the first thing we need to address. It's not so much an issue around going to bed at different times, but getting up at the same time pretty much every day is important. And he's dealt with people who have depression and suicidal, the mental health, and I've been there. I was suicidal. I was in a mental institute. I was highly medicated several years ago. And I was able to bounce forward through a decision. And was the water important in that? Absolutely. And I'm not saying it as in the water cured me or anything like that, not at all. I just looked and went, what do I need to do as a human being to support my own health, to support me in living? And it went back to the environment I was in, from oxygen, the water I was consuming, the foods I was eating, my environment, my sleep. It went through all these different areas. So it might feel like I'm a bit off track here, and I apologize if that's what you're feeling. But the intention of it here is to help you understand the power and the importance of focusing on foundational elements to support your health. And the water is one of those foundational elements that you can tick a box for, which then means that you can also assist other people in doing that, irrelevant of if you're a distributor or not. Because one of the key ways to experience happiness, like, let me know in the comments, let me know on Instagram, let me know on YouTube in the comments, do you want to experience happiness? Do you want to experience fulfillment? Now, some of you may not even know what fulfillment feels like, but you know what happiness is. And happiness is moments. That happiness that you've experienced from seeing a friend achieve something, or maybe you've got a child graduate, or whatever it would be. That moment of happiness and pride that you saw, and how proud you were of them, or whatever it's been, or happiness in yourself of achieving something, that same feeling has not lasted to this point. It was a moment. So when you're helping other people, the key to happiness is in service. And it's irrelevant of whether we're accessing the compensation plan within Enagic, because there's nothing more powerful than feeling like you've helped somebody else, feeling that energy of happiness and pride. Not pride from an egotistical space, pride from a point of living and on purpose. And this is what we have with regards to the product. Naturally, the Enespa is fantastic. The Ukon and all the other turmeric supplements for the Enagic are fantastic products. But the key is that we invest in them for ourselves first. And then we let that overflow. It's a pun there. We let that overflow to serve other people. So the Tanya says there, the first glass, able to digest the water after struggling drinking water for years. That right there, Tanya, is fantastic, because the amount of conversations I've had with people at live events, expos, even, home demonstrations, people saying, I struggle to drink water. I don't like the taste, or I don't like the smell, or I feel bloated. If we can help people just because it tastes better, drink more water, think of the positive effect that's going to have in their body. It's huge. And it's something so simple. I actually was at an expo where a lady came over to me and she was so curious around what we were doing. And she said, I have a very high level, there might be a name for it, but she said, I have a very high level of sensitivity to chlorine. I have a house filter, like a full house filter, and I have under my sink, I have a triple filter, and I can still taste chlorine. I was like, wow, okay. And she said, can I try this water you've got? And I said, absolutely, you can. And she tried it, and all it was at the time, I didn't have pre-filtration. I do now, and I recommend it highly. But all it was the K8, the water. It was town water, so it had chlorine in it. The town water had been filtered through the filter in the ionizer, and she drank the water, and her instant response was, wow, this tastes great. It tastes so clean. And I just said to her, this has one filter versus your whole house and triple filter kit. Now, first of all, my question then was, when was the last time you changed your filters, to make sure that she had been doing? But the point being was that we are dealing with something far higher on a level of quality than what a lot of stuff is promoted out there. And if people, going back to what I started with, if people are focused on cleaner water and they're only thinking filtered water, that's all they're thinking, then it's only going to be through the power of education that helps them understand the difference. I had a conversation with a lady yesterday who's gone through and seen information and still asked me the question, do I really need my SD501 ionizer, or can I just have pre-filtration? And I said, pre-filtration is stage one. It's going to clean your source water prior to the ionizer, which means the cleaner the water going into your ionizer, the cleaner and healthier your Kangen water is going to be. She said, I see. I said, but the power of the ionizer is the properties that are created in it, in particular, the ability for it to work as an antioxidant in your body, which you won't get from filtered water. You need that charge going through the water. So then she started to understand, and I then diverted her to go and watch some of the videos, because the information she had seen wasn't what I had shared. So these are important things to be aware of along that journey, that only an educated mind can make an educated decision toward their health. And especially when it comes to water, because most of us are able to, fortunately, turn the tap and water comes out, and the majority of the population think that it's safe, it's a challenge to educate somebody who's not ready to be educated. It's truly a challenge to do that. So Rita says, absolutely, as someone who has battled with depression, anxiety since childhood, happiness is of utmost importance. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Rita. It's one of the most powerful quotes I've heard recently is from Lao Tzu. And I'm going to paraphrase here, but this has truly shifted my way of thinking. And I really want to amplify this. I invest so much in my own personal growth. I love to share and teach that. But this has been something that I've learned deeply. And our thoughts, so remember, think about our thoughts are created by what's going in, the information that's coming in. So our subconscious mind, for any of us who are around, I know this is slightly off Enagic stuff, but this is important for your life, my life, for all of us. If we all want to live in a better world and we all want to co-create a better world, we've got to become better. We've got to become aware of the things that are dictating our actions, our thoughts. The subconscious mind, between the moment we're born to the 8 years of age, is literally, you've seen babies and they're grabbing at things. If you're a female and you've got the baby, they're probably grabbing at your necklace or pulling your top. They're like fascinated. Everything's open and all this information's coming in and they're hearing things. And what that is the subconscious is filling up with information. And that information then creates beliefs, which then dictate the way we behave. And a lot of the beliefs that we have are not even our own beliefs. They're beliefs passed on from other people, and it's often through generations down the chain. Well, think of it like this then. If our subconscious mind is controlling us based on the information, no matter how good something appears, why do most people not achieve the goals? Why do people not really ever get there and go, why can't I get there? Why can't I get past this? Subconscious is pulling you back. It's holding you back. The subconscious is helping create the thoughts. So our thoughts then create an emotion. So think about it, like right now, before this call started, thought, I've got to get this call. I want to make sure everything's working. I don't want to let anybody down. The emotion was concern. Is this all going to work? Is signal going to be all right? I travel full time on the road. So there was concern. There was also excitement. And the same, excitement and worry are exactly the same energy, just polar opposite ends of the scale. So I chose to shift it into more of a, I'm excited about this, it's all going to work fine, and focus from that state. So I had the thought, will this work? Is everything going to work? I had the emotion, then it dictated the action. It's all going to work. I'm excited, press go live, or press whatever it is on Instagram. And that happened. Now then, the result is that you're all here right now. And the result is other people are going to be watching this. So I'm making that impact, which was the original intention, to create more of an impact in other people's lives around the world through whatever information I get the fortune to share on this call. And the power of this then is that a lot of what's happening in this space, by the way that we think, feel, act, gives us the results. So the thing that I heard from Lao Tzu, which has truly impacted my life, and I feel compelled to share this with you, and I'm paraphrasing: depression is in the past, anxiety is in the future, peace is in the present. Let that filter in or ionize in. Depression is in the past, anxiety is in the future, peace is in the present. And I'll give you an experience that I recently had. My partner and I were having a discussion about some work stuff, and I had already 100% knew what I wanted to do. And I was talking to her about it, and she said, no, it needs to be different. And I was seriously challenged with that, because I had already made my decision. I already knew that I wanted to move forward, and this is how I wanted to do it. And we didn't have an argument, but we clearly had different views. And I was frustrated that she wasn't hearing me, and she wasn't respecting me for wanting to go and do it the way and move forward this way. And she dropped me off because we were going to pick the car up, and I was frustrated. I was feeling unheard, not valued. And I got in the car and I was driving home to get back to see her. And I was so anxious of getting back and how the energy was going to be in the room. I was living in the future, anxieties in the future. I was upset and angry because of the way that she hadn't heard me or listened to me. That was the past. Depression, the past. And I just breathed. And I did some gratitude in regards to her being in my life and being there to support me and to help me see other things in a different view. And in that moment, I was at peace. I literally felt everything drain away. Now, don't get me wrong. It was a bumpy ride because I was still going through the anxiety and the highs and the lows of it all and so on, the anxiety and that. But it's a powerful tool. And there's no new eternal truths. There's no new eternal truths. All of this information, it's being reworded, it's being repackaged and delivered to us in the world that we live in, but there's no new eternal truths. And this is something that's really helped me. And everyone that I've spoken to over the years, through these kinds of information, it helps me understand the conversations I've had. When people are like, oh, it's a lot of money. It's because that's in the future. The anxiety of spending that amount of money or spending that amount of money in the future because it's not in the present creates anxiety. But the reality of it is for every single one of us who has invested in the products, every time you go and get a bottle of Kangen water, a glass of Kangen water, do you walk over to your ionizer and go, this cost me thousands of dollars? When you turn your TV on, do you sit there and go, this cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars? Or open your laptop or get on your phone? You never do. Because what you purchased it for, what you invested money into it for, you are receiving. You are getting exactly what you get. Irrelevant of if your expectation was in regards to the ionizer or the Inesper or the turmeric products, irrelevant if it was related to your health, you're still receiving the value. And all this is super, super, super important in regards to helping people understand that all that we're focused on doing, respectfully, all that we're focused on doing is helping you experience something greater than you currently are. And that might not be something that you physically experience right now, but just what if it helps you be able to bend down to pick your child up or grandchildren up better? What if it helps you to be able to move more freely because your body's more effectively hydrated? What difference would that make? You know, one of the things that I've heard so often, especially with working in the fitness industry, is people who are in their 40s, more so getting into the 50s and definitely into the 60s are, I just want to be able to move freer so that I can play with my grandkids. Now, think of it. It's not about the being able to move freer. They probably don't want to even do the exercise. What it's all about is the result. I want to be able to enjoy my time with my grandchildren. And this is the same thing. I want to be able to feel healthier. I want to be able to know that I've done things to help my body. I don't want to have to get to my doctor, my GP or health professional, medical professional, and then tell me, you now need to do this, which is the majority of what people do in society. And it's not a judgment from me. Most people, it's estimated over 90% of people are reactive to their health. That means something happens and they react. If those figures are right, that means approximately 10% are proactive. They're actually doing stuff for themselves to be proactive to try and reduce any issues. The thing that we are to be aware of here, and that I encourage us all, including myself, when I speak, it's not just for you, it's for myself as well, is if we live in a state of worry about getting sick, we will manifest sickness. A friend of mine is a naturopath, a very close friend of mine is a naturopath, and she's been a naturopathic teacher and helped train a lot of naturopaths. And she was so strict with her health, and she ended up getting cancer. And I had a conversation with her about it, and she was so upset, not just obviously getting cancer, but that she was a beacon of light to many people in the health space, especially in naturopathic health. And she felt like she was fake because of getting sick. And she said to me after that in a conversation, she said, I realized that I manifested this sickness, this disease, because I was so concerned about being healthy and doing the right things all the time, and not eating the dessert, not having the alcohol, not enjoying myself in those environments and being strict and saying I can't have this, even though I may have wanted it, that she actually created a negative that was just chewing away at her ankles all the time. And these are some important things for us to just be aware of in regards to how we show up in our own lives. But in particular, when we're looking at the things, I applaud you. I truly do applaud you for making that investment in the products. Even if it was as a distributor. I've heard some people have bought the products and 2 years on, they've still not pulled the products out the box, connected it, which baffles me. And if you're in front of Mr. Oshiro, he would probably grab you and give you a good shake. Because when we look at Enagic and the philosophy of Enagic, the philosophy in Enagic is called True Health, which has 3 pillars. Pillar 1, physical health. There's nothing more important than that. Forget about everything else. If we're sick, all that we're focused on is getting healthy. Pillar 2, relationship / mental health. That's not only relationship with other people, that's relationships with ourselves and our own mental health. And pillar 3 is financial health. Now, financial health is not pillar 1. It starts with us, focusing on our physical health, looking after ourselves. The next one is relationship, building relationships, connecting with other people, helping other people, service. Service because we're healthy, we're well. And thirdly, the result of that is financial. Money, acquiring money is always a financial result. It's a result. And money only comes in through some level of energy exchange. But most of us are attracted because of the society we live in and the education we've had and what we've allowed to consume us. Money, money, money. But if we actually look at how Enagic pays us, Enagic only pays us when there's an exchange that takes place. When somebody chooses to invest in the products are sent to them, then the reward is given to the distributors. It's a final part. And that's why it's so powerful. That's why Mr. Oshiro focused on, you're not just going to give Enagic, let's just say $5,000, and we're going to give you commission back. And there's no tangible product, there's nothing exchanged. Our focus is you're investing your money in here for the products that may last the rest of your lifetime if you look after them. And if you choose to be a distributor, we're going to financially support you because we're not choosing to spend our money on a marketing budget, on adverts, and trying to get out there. We want to give back to the people. And if any of you have done any of my trainings in regards to a particular Attractor Apex, you'll know the power of why Mr. Oshiro created Enagic, why he chose to create the True Health philosophy, why it's those 3 pillars, why he's so passionate about, through his own pain, why he's so passionate about those 3 pillars. And this is when you connect with Enagic on that level, on that spiritual level, the essence, when you understand that energy, that is what helps drive and motivate you to make an impact in other people's lives through first filling your own cup. And that's why when you see the negativity that's posted on social media, or whether it be websites or any of the social media channels, a lot of these people, one, including medical professionals, these people have no understanding of Enagic at the essence of Mr. Oshiro. So think Enagic only exists because of a why. And they don't understand that why. They just focus on the surface level stuff. And a lot of them are creating misinformation, hence why the yourkangenwaterguy brand was created, to debunk the misinformation from medical industry, health professionals, reps for other companies, because they were sick of seeing it and reading it and being sent websites and blogs and videos. Like, this isn't right. There's a guy who's a professor on water who's created his own filter systems, who spoke at an event that I was at, that on stage chose, while he's marketing his own products, chose to badmouth Enagic and Kangen water. And I mean, I was foaming at the mouth because there was hundreds of people in that room who knew that I promoted Enagic and Kangen water and the products. And my best mate, messaged me and said, don't worry, I'll address this, because he had helped organize for this event to take place. And in the lunch break, and I'm not going to mention the name of the professor, but in the lunch break, he actually questioned the professor and said, look, I'm curious to know, where did you get your information on Enagic and Kangen water? And the professor, okay, so somebody who's all supposed to be about study, who's got that certificate to say, you know, I'm able to speak about these things, where people are going to believe him based on his qualifications, turned around and said, I know what I know on that via Google, a search engine, and what people have told me. So not through any true studies, through peer-reviewed evidence, through actually investigating, through Google, which when you go to Google is basically the opinions of many people. And Google's a search engine, and people pay out. If you actually go to the Google and type in Enagic Kangen water, there's adverts from other companies that come up. Well, Enagic's a registered name that can't be used by any other company without Enagic's permission. Kangen water's trademarked and registered, which can't be used by any other company without Enagic's permission. Change Your Water, Change Your Life is trademarked, can't be used by any other company without Enagic's permission. Yet these companies use those words in the Google ad search words via paid advertising to try and get in front of the consumer, to then belittle Enagic and Kangen water and tell misinformation and in many ways lies to the general public. And the general public wants what? I mean, you're the general public, I'm the general public. We all want the same thing. We want the best level of value at the cheapest price. That's what we all want. Now, we don't want to pay more than what we need to for a product that we know we can get less. So what do? They leverage that. And the majority of the people in the public go, this website is saying all this information about Enagic, and because we are programmed to think negatively to protect ourselves, we then go, oh, this company is protecting us. I can get just as good a product for half the price. And we believe what they're saying. We believe the way that they say Enagic's inflated because of the business model. Yet at no point does it mention about Mr. Oshiro, where the company was formulated, how it actually all works, why the compensation plan is there, why there's not a marketing budget, why Enagic don't run paid advertising. Because if Enagic ran paid advertising like these other companies, they wouldn't need the distributors. It doesn't say that. So their focus is they've got an inferior product that they're trying to market to the general public for a cheaper cost and marketing it as just as good, if not better. So the general public are going to go, that makes sense. That's what I want. And I've lost a lot of sales through that, through people believing that. And there's also videos online of people saying, I was trialing Kangen water for a period of time. I felt fantastic, but we didn't want to spend that amount of money. So we bought a cheaper ionizer and we don't feel as good. So you buy an inferior product, you're not going to experience the same. And at the end of the day, it's our health. It's our health we're focused on here. And if there's nothing more important than our health, what are we going to do? Yeah, thank you. Yes, he's one of my favorites as well, Jordan Peterson. He's been fine. There's a great interview. If you actually have any negativity towards Jordan Peterson, and I've found him a bit controversial, and bearing in mind a lot of what we see or hear, especially on social media channels, is only clips, so it's often out of context. But there's a great interview with Piers Morgan, and I was never a fan of Piers Morgan, but Piers Morgan has really stepped up, in my opinion, in regards to his interviews. He's done some great interviews that are on YouTube. One of the greatest that I watched was with Rod Stewart. Big fan of Rod Stewart, but also Andrew Flintoff, Freddie Flintoff, the cricketer for England. That was a really powerful interview, especially around depression and what he went through. But he did it. Piers Morgan recently did an interview with Jordan Peterson on Sky. If you go to YouTube on Sky, that's a fantastic interview, and that really inspired me then to invest in his book, think the 12 steps, and it's we just did rule 1 or 12 rules to life, and it's about basically avoiding creating chaos and having order. We listened to rule 1 yesterday on the audio, which was about an hour and 20 minutes, and it was deep. It was very deep, but powerful as well. So, hey, Brent, good to see you, brother. Fantastic. So there's not been any questions come through, which is, I don't know, maybe everyone's enjoying what's being shared, which is fantastic. At the end of the day, this is all for you. So there's so many messages and comments on Instagram. I really can't go through it, so I apologize. But whatever comes through, I'll do my best to get back. So we shift then from really then the essence of Enagic and what we're moving forward with into this beautiful state then of, well, what are we creating here? And we're really creating a way for us as human beings to experience something greater. And that's not just within the products. You know, the products are important and that's what we buy and that's what we can enjoy, but we're creating something greater in regards to connection, the relationships, like the mental health aspect of it. A lot of people already have a stigma around it. Mental health means something different to many of us, but in particular, the power of relationships, the people that we're around, but also learning to respect each other. Remember what I said earlier on, our beliefs are often aren't ours. I've shifted beliefs over the years, and that's challenged family members and, you know, friends of family members who you know, have watched me grow up. It's challenged them based on their own beliefs, because they're like, yeah, but you believe this. And I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't ever my belief. This is what I believe now. This is what feels right. But it's from a place of respect. And when we have those, I truly believe that Enagic has allowed me and given me the space to evolve as a human being. Now, initially, it was only through the power of buying the products and drinking the Kangen water. That was the only, and showering in the Anespa water and taking the Yukon turmeric supplements. That's all it was. It was about another health product and stuff that I could put in my body that was going to be of value to my body. And in doing that, once again, that box was ticked. What's the next thing? I learned to build relationships with people. I learned to listen to myself and build a stronger relationship with myself. When I was with Mr. Ashiro in Japan, and he speaks a unique Japanese dialect. So he doesn't speak English, but it was translated. And he said, and his talk was so powerful. I truly wish, if you've never been in Mr. Ashiro's presence and listened to him, I truly wish for this to happen for you. Make it happen for yourselves. He was sharing that when he focused on building Enagic, he focused on building Enagic from a space of, this is a brick, and this brick needs to be laid perfectly. And it needs to be laid perfectly plumb and level next to another brick. And as I go along and I lay it perfectly, and I make sure that it's not breaking anywhere and so on, it's going to help build a strong wall. And if I take my time with this, eventually I'll have a wall or a foundation that is going to protect me and my family, that's going to help other people. And when he was referring to the bricks, he was talking about the bricks as people. I want to find people who align with why I'm creating Enagic. I want to find people who want to be a part of this movement. I want to find people who want to commit to this. I want to work with other people. Now, when I said about the brick being perfect, that didn't mean perfect health, perfect mindset, anything like that. It meant not negatively speaking about Enagic. Had a desire to experience something better. There's many people who say, I want something better. There's a difference between a desire, a burning desire, and wanting something different. We all want to experience a better life, but many of us won't even get out of the chair to do it. You know, an interview with Oprah Winfrey and Jim Carrey, probably one of the most powerful interviews that I ever saw, was Jim Carrey had just achieved, I think it was $10 million for after Dumb and Dumber, and Oprah was interviewing him, and she said, didn't you write a check for $10 million for and put it in your wallet? And he said, yeah. He said, I was broke and he was up on a hill somewhere in his car, and he wrote a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and he put it in his wallet. And he said it deteriorated for over like 5 years in his wallet. And he said in 5 years' time, he would achieve it. And he said it was like coming up to that time, they released Dumb and Dumber, he earned $10 million. And everyone was like applauding and jumping around. And it's on YouTube, you can watch it. And he said, the thing was, is I like the law of attraction, because that's a big thing that Oprah talks about. But he said, I wrote it down and I believed in it. And it was for acting services rendered, meaning I continue to show up and act and do what I do. And I was rewarded this, but I didn't just write it and sit on the couch eating a sandwich and expecting everything to change for me. And this is the same with regards to the products. People say, I want to be healthier, or I want to experience something greater with my health. And look at the information and go, oh, but it's too expensive. And I've had people literally within days after saying it's too expensive come back to me because they've been diagnosed with something and said, I need to buy it. I'm like, it's not a cure. There's no guarantee it's going to fix your problem, because dis-ease is dis-ease. You're in a state of dis-ease. So the water's just one element. It could be stress in your relationship, in your job, that's created the disease. And the thing is that once again, it's back to that reactive. But all that we can do as people who genuinely, and this is important, who genuinely want to help other people, is provide the information and know that, hey, I'm here to assist you and support you. Not only in getting the information to then invest in the products, but afterward. The reason why I've been able to help so many people is because of the lack of support after somebody's invested. So especially since and this has nothing to do with Enagic, I'll just add, especially since the online platforms came in, there was so much focus on money and lifestyle and time freedom and financial freedom. And I'm not bad-mouthing the platforms. I support some of the platforms out there, not all of them, because I know some of them are extremely non-compliant and just focused on money. But at the same time, this created a big problem, because when people come in for the result, they don't focus on all the steps before and after the result. And if the result is only money, what about the newest person who's bought? Where's the support? And I call BS to anybody who says, oh, just log into the platform and follow the training. It's a human relationship. You're dealing with a human, not a robot. And we have emotions as human beings. We have experiences as human beings that somebody may step in and go, yeah, I want the product, fantastic, I'm looking forward to getting it. And then something happens in their life. Maybe they lose a family member, maybe someone gets sick, or maybe they lose their job. They are not mentally in a state of ease. So even the thought of connecting the ionizer is like the hardest thing in the world. And no matter how many videos you send them or PDFs or whatever to do it, it's too hard for them. And that's that level of support. And I've always said personally from my side is, if you want to come and join Enagic through me, as I'm your sponsor, you need to understand that we are building a friendship first and a business relationship second. Because there's going to be times in your life where you need me as a friend in your corner, where you need a pair of ears, and no doubt vice versa. And a friendship to me is far more important than the sale of an Enagic product. And if all you want is a business relationship, go and find somebody out there who's only interested in the business relationship, because that isn't me. Now, I got clear on that several years ago. For me, it's more important about deep, meaningful relationships than it is sales in my business, because we can always earn more money. I got clear on what's important, what's in alignment with me based on my core values. How do I want to live? Where are the moments of happiness each day? What brings me fulfillment in my life? And if you don't know that right now, I actually had a lady block me on Facebook because I know what I want and I know the way that I'm going. And she said that she doesn't know, and she blocked me. Yet she reached out to me for support within Enagic. And I was like, well, it was an interesting experience. And I was a bit challenged by it because my intention is to assist people. And anybody who has invest the time to get to know that and find out more about me will know I give a hell of a lot. And I've created ways to assist people in their lives first, and then their businesses, whether they're in Enagic or not. In a different business or a traditional business, it doesn't make a difference to me. It's always about assisting people and helping them move forward and building those deep and meaningful relationships. If she had been open, because she reached out because she was in a space of lack, if she had been open to saying, hey, Martin, you know where you're going, you're clear in your vision, which is to co-create a world where people wake up inspired every day, experience fulfillment, feel safe, and are open to conscious collaboration in order to help each of us achieve our desired success. You're clear on your core values, you're clear on your mission. The question then that could have helped her is, how did you get there? Not block me, because she's never going to experience anything else, which goes back to that. Do you want to experience something more? John Azaroff was asked a question by his mentor. Are you interested in experiencing a better life, or are you committed to it? And he said, what's the difference? And he said, if you're interested, you'll find excuses. If you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes. Super powerful. Rita, I saw you've got a question there. I do have a question. How do you shift the skeptical spouse? You kick them out, Rita. That's the quickest way. I have someone who is now open to getting a machine, but my cousin, her husband, will never spend $5,000 on a water machine. I can get my whole home filtered for less, is a video he said us. I'm going to lend them a machine. I feel by using all the waters, they would see the value, but short of what would you suggest? Okay. Wow, you've been working on your cousin for 2 years. I finally got through to the wife. Okay, right. So with that, I would advise from a point of the challenge is people need to be open to the information. That's the first thing. If people aren't open to the information, it's always going to be a challenge to get the intellectual stuff in. So definitely getting an ionizer in the home is going to create more of a potentially a personal spiritual experience. That's not to say that he's going to drink the water, though. I've literally had people buy the ionizers and their partner or even siblings have said, I ain't drinking that. So they refuse to drink it. Even I've got a guy in my team right now, all his family who lives with, he's only 20, so he's still at home. All his family drink the water and I'm blown away with it. One of his siblings won't touch it, doesn't believe in it. So, it's like you can't lead a horse to water. But the power of it is ask him if he's open. Probably what tends to happen is that when the ionizer's in there, if she or somebody else in the family is having a positive experience, then the mind starts to open up a little bit more. But definitely just focus on the one who's interested. It's kind of like when I've spoken to audiences of whether it be one or hundreds or thousands of people, you don't put your time and energy into the one who sat there with their arms crossed and not interested and looking around the room or on the phone. You focus on the ones who are engaging and nodding and are a part of the energetic experience, because that amplifies the energy in the room. Like you've been nodding a lot, so I can see you, and it's like fantastic. If you were asleep, then I was like, okay, well, I'm really not resonating here, or you've had a late night. But that's it. Like Tanya said, she wasn't ready to change, but to blame. Exactly. People have to be ready. People have to be ready out of their own will. We can only, one of the things I often say is we're simply messengers. We're an extension of Mr. Oshiro to share Enagic, the products, the value, the business model, if people want that. We're simply a messenger to provide the information. And we're naturally going to provide information based on what we found has resonated, that's of value to us, and help people understand that. Now, there's been things that I've shared that don't resonate with me. from an angle of my values. So people might say, for instance, farming. Well, I don't have a farm. I don't do farming. I don't know anything about farming, but they're maybe into farming, and they go, oh, is there anything you can share? Yeah. And I always watch the information before I share it, so that I've got an understanding of the value within it, to then say, hey, you know, like for instance, Melinda, here's some information around farming, and I found this really interesting based on X, Y, and Z. Here you go. So that's like an edification. But so Rita, does that help in regards to what I should? Yeah, okay. It is a process. I actually remember doing a water trial for a lady, and her husband sat in the chair, and he was a right grouch, and he sat in the chair, and his bottom lip was dragging on the carpet, and he was like, I don't know why you're bringing that water over. It's we're not going to buy anything. And his wife, I had known for a while. She met me at an expo, and she was talking to me about some stuff, and she said, I'd love to try the water, Martin. I'm just going through a few things. And she was an energy healer, and I'd love to try it, and so on. And I just said, and I turned to him and I said, your wife's asked me to bring this water over, and we've got two options here. First option is you can remain skeptical and think that this is snake oil and it's of no value. Or option two is you can drink it and prove me wrong. Like you can drink it and say that I've drank it and I don't feel any different, or it doesn't taste great, or whatever it is. You can do that. And I was like, tell me, do you have any health ailments? Now, this was, bearing in mind, this wasn't about making claims, but this was several years ago, before there was a big focus on it. And he said, yeah, I've got bone on bone in my knee, I've got back pain, I've been in the building industry and all this. And he was in his late 60s. And I said, well, if you drink this water and you feel better, would that be a benefit to you? And he was like, as if that's going to happen. And I remember it so clearly because it was a Friday midday when I dropped the water off, and I was driving south by 4 hours. And I dropped off, I think it was 10 liters. And on the way down, I got a phone call, and it was the lady's number, but he was on the phone and said, how quickly can I get more of this water? It tastes amazing and I feel great. Not going to go into everything else he said on the call, but I went, so you chose option two then. So this is that thing of, you can sometimes have a bit of fun with it and create a bit of, hey, prove me wrong. But if you just drink the water, see if you can see if it's of no benefit. And some people, don't get me wrong, don't experience any benefit in a matter of weeks or days or whichever, or months, but some do, and the majority do. And if somebody's wanting to try it from that, and they're willing, especially if they've got their ionizer at home and they're drinking it fresh every day, there's a higher chance of it being either a detox, which we know is going to be not a very pleasant experience in the beginning, but it will help shift a lot of the toxins to then help them feel better, which is a good thing in its own right. But majority of people do have a positive experience. My husband didn't care either about the water, so I just filled his bottle every day. Then I changed it back and he noticed the difference. Oh, what a strategy, Tanya. Thank you. That's fantastic. Kelly, I already have an under sink water filter as I'm on tank water. It has been, one is for sediment, example, mud, sand, gilt, particles, chlorine, taste, odor reduction. So I'm wondering if it is adequate to use with my K8, or do I need a different type of filter for it? No, so with pre-filtration, as long as it's cleaning out like a lot of the dirt and sand and dirt, obviously you've got tank water there. Make sure you've got a filter in it there that does bacteria as well. So there's actually I talk about this on my pre-filtration page, so I'll just drop that link in there. You can find out more on that in there. So here we go. I'm trying to do multiple things at once here. So make sure that it is filtering out or at least have your tank water tested So, but the cleaner it can go through in the ionizer, the better. The thing to do then is to make sure, and this is for all of us right now, if you've got someone on tank water, rainwater, bore water, well water, reverse osmosis system, there's a test you can do, and I have it on my YouTube channel called Is My Ionizer Working? You can even do this at home if you're on town water for a bit of fun. Could be a video. Or a bit of a party trick when people come over and they're asking about the ionizer. And you basically want to make sure that the water that's coming through from a pH setting, as in when you do the drops, is then split into two streams. And you get in 9.5 at the top hose and let's say 4.5 at the bottom hose. So one's alkaline, one's acidic. If you're getting pretty much the same color and pH level, roughly, then there's no mineral in the source water, and you're probably going to have to speak to Enagic about getting the mineral additive, because ionization can only take place with a mineral. So just be aware of that. So the people, and I see this so often in groups, there's so much information, even from Enagic distributors, the people who say that if you've got a reverse osmosis system, it won't work. It's not true. Put the ionizer on afterwards, perform the test, then find out whether you need to get the mineral additive from Enagic or not. So anyone who gives you a straight answer of yes or no, ignore them. There's way too many variables within it. And that's why I always say, just if you want the ionizer, there's always ways to make the ionizer work. It's just a process of elimination to eventually get there. But for majority of people, it will work. So yeah, definitely a pre-filtration, Kelly, is great to have already. But just make sure if you've got pre-filtration, guys, that you're keeping up to date with how often the filters need changing. That's probably the biggest thing I've seen over the years. Is I've gone people's homes who've got pre-filtration, and the dates on the filters, like some of them are 3 years old, and some filters are so poor they only last like 3-6 months. But even if you look at the Enagic ones you can get, the fluoride reduction filter, that only lasts 2 months and then needs changing. People buy it and have it on for a year. And I'm like, but it only lasts 2 months before it starts breaking down what it's collected and what it's made of. And they're like, I didn't even know. And what always fascinates me about this is it's written on the filter. Like, I know this because I've read it, and I'm not saying that and mocking anybody, but it's like, hey, this is going in our body, and we want to experience something greater, and we want to be healthier. We basically need to be taking action there with that. So the one thing that I want to do, and I know for the people that aren't on that are on the Instagram, you guys can't see, but I just really want to highlight this that I've put together to make sure you're all aware of this. So the Your Kangen Education website was created to support product owners and distributors. It's free to access. And the reason, well, not only the reason, but one of the main reasons it was created was to help eliminate so many questions to me. You know, the most valuable commodity we have is our time. It's something we can't get back. You know, when we think about money, all of us can earn more money at any time. It's renewable constantly, but we can't get our time back. So I created the Your Kangen Education. It's free. Anyone who's bought through you or you know as distributors, they can come in here and get access to it. It's completely free. Just got to register to come on in. The other thing to be aware of as well is as of November, we're launching the Your KangenwaterGuy membership. So at the moment, I'm just dropping this value into the community from an angle of this call for free. Moving forward, we're actually going to have a private membership, all personal, interactive. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we did was, look at that handsome chap right there. I know you guys on Instagram can't see, but in fact, what I'll do is I'll see if I can do this. There you go. Can you see that? There you go. So there we go. I can see it in my screen. So you're going to get 2 live calls per month, all your questions answered. You're going to get discounts to all your KangenwaterGuy events. There's the replay access. There's a Facebook group. There's going to be 2 live calls a month. And I wanted to make sure that this was super, super affordable. So $14.99 Australian, a month if you want to pay monthly, or just an annual, get 2 months free at 149 Australian. Basically, for those in the US, it's less than $10 a month and less than $100 for the whole year. Access to me there. So obviously there's stuff that I give away for free, but there's a lot more people wanting personal experience. If you want that, you can simply go to yourkangenwaterguy.com/membership, and it's there for you to access. So this will be dropped and promoted into the group and so on. And if you got the email, you're going to be let known about it. But it is something that I want to make sure people get the value from to support them in their own Enagic business. Naturally, the more people, and this might come across as a strange thing to say for a lot of distributors out there who are, in my opinion, aren't really helping us on a greater level, but the more people become aware of the value of Enagic, the more people who own the products, that's a good thing for all of us as distributors. That's a good thing for all of us as customers who've got the products in our shit, and like someone comes over and says, what's that on your bench? That's a good thing. So the more people we can get aware of the right information, the compliant things to be sharing, you know, a lot of the negativity out there does have legs to stand on because of what some people are choosing to do consciously, some people unconsciously, but consciously from a place of greed to get sales around health claims and income claims and discounts and things like that. Now, only we are in control of our own integrity. So if you're interested to join the Your Kangen Water Guy membership, it is there. We are going to have another live call that's free to come on this month. And it's going to be at 4 p.m. on the 3rd Wednesday of the month to accommodate the different time zones. So that might not work. I apologize for the US and Canada, but this is why I'm doing an 8 a.m. one and a 4 p.m. one to help as many people around the world as possible. So thank you so much for your time, your energy. Oh, Louise, you just threw in the, can I ask a question about compliance, or is this just for water? No, it's a question for anything and for all of us to learn together. So you can drop that question in just before we wrap it up, but I am going to be wrapping it up very quickly. I do want to say thank you to everyone. In regards to the membership, because this is a question that came through, I am aware that some of you have already got monthly expenses in regards to stuff to do with platforms or other things. Hence why we said, why don't we just do it for a cheap cost for the whole year and get 2 months free? So once again, live access to me every month. Thank you, Rita. Rita's already jumping in there. I'm in Enagic for the second time. Originally, I entered through an online group, which was quite unethical and never mentioned the products. To my chagrin, my mentor the second time was around non-compliant and left Enagic. I'm very grateful for all the videos I tell my team and follow you. Thank you so much for your support, Rita. Thank you so much. And that's the intention, just to help raise the bar for us all and protect not only our Enagic business. One of the things that's promoted and is attractive to a lot of us is that legacy, the willable aspect of Enagic. But for a lot of us, we don't understand that it's not just related to the rank. It actually isn't related to the rank. There are other things involved in that, and it's at the discretion of Enagic whether you get paid the residual, it's called the residual, the passive income of $5,000 plus per month at 6A2-3 and so on. They can choose to not pay that you. They can choose to reduce the monthly bonuses based on how you behave. They can choose to not make your business willable based on how you behave. And this is why it's so important and why I stress, you know, some people might roll their eyes, oh, here he goes again on his tangent about compliance. But I stress that if you're wanting to build a business that rewards your beneficiaries, rewards you now, but rewards your beneficiaries, being compliant is critical to that. Not only is it critical to that, it's critical to the Enagic as a company continuing, and it's critical to every other distributor within Enagic. Because if you're, and I'm not saying that any of you on this call are doing it, but if your posts and you're consciously choosing to do this, and I know there's leaders, and I use it very loosely, leaders out there choosing to do the wrong thing. I've had leaders tell me, I don't care about compliance, but choosing to do that, what we're creating then is a problem that could get Enagic closed down, which then means your own greed affected potentially millions of other people's lives. And I know at the core essence as a human being created by love. That isn't what we want to do. I know that 100%. So Louise asked, and I'll wrap this up after this question. I see some distributors have third-party Enagic websites, not AWS, but it says you're not supposed to. Is there a legal way that some people are doing it? That's a great question, Louise. So one of the reasons why Enagic only encourages to have AWS websites is simply because it can be controlled, meaning that everything that needs to be updated from a point of compliance is done at a touch of a button. All the distributors have the same information. It's compliant within regulations. And a lot of this has happened because many distributors chose to create their own websites, and there's a lot of claims out there. There are definitely a lot of claims. Anyone who's got their own website that's created it may be asked to shut it down. But then there are also, like myself, I spoke to Enagic, I've had Enagic check over it. Any changes that I make, it has to be approved by Enagic. It's been approved by Enagic in Australia. I don't sell the products on there, so you can't actually go and click on any of the products to learn more or buy the products. Everything's from an angle of education and information, which obviously elevates. And I know a lot of people use my content to share to help them grow. So I've personally had mine approved. I do know of other people having them closed down, basically because they were promoting the products and getting people's information to buy the products, as well as I've seen some sites that not only was the claims and stuff, and that's why some of them are shut down, but I've seen other sites very much focused on self, as in not willing to support anyone outside of their team. And that's something that Enagic doesn't support. Enagic, and one of the policies and procedures we actually signed to and agreed to is that as a distributor, we will support our own team. And many don't. Like percentage-wise, the majority do, but many unfortunately don't, especially if they've come through an online platform, because they don't know any different. They're just like, well, I followed this, so do the same. But the thing is that we all agree with it. We've got to be there and support the people. And when we've got our own website, it's expected that you're going to support other distributors as well, which, if anyone wants to challenge me that I don't, bring on the evidence to back it up. So it's really a conversation with Louise, with Enagic, Louise, if you want to have your own. But I know in America in particular, it's a no-no. I'm sure it's Canada's exactly the same. Europe, they were closing sites down as well. So it's a conversation with Enagic. But as I mentioned, 100% everything that I do, I speak to compliance first. I have a very strong relationship with Enagic Corporate, as I said earlier on, basically because of how I show up and the time and energy that I give to support other distributors around the world. So ladies and gents, I just want to say thank you everyone for choosing to be here with me. I was intended on this being just an hour, so I thank you for staying longer. On Instagram as well, I appreciate you staying as well. Whew, all this going on. So if you've got any other questions, make sure you're in the Enagic product owners and distributor support group, and accessing the value within there. Remember, the yourkangeneducation.com site's free, and the membership, I'll put the links on Instagram and so on for anyone who wants to join and come on in there. So go and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Thank you for your time, and bye for now. Enjoying my YouTube channel? Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell to receive further value.